Gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Time and Space Podcast. Again, that's Jordan Hirsch. That's Francis Donald. I'm Sean Tandy. We got our producer, Weezy F. Wayne, in the building as well. Gentlemen, good to see you both. How are we both doing today? What's the good word on the street?
Hey, just finished our first weekend in the lacrosse season. So I'm feeling good, feeling great.
There we go. Jordan, how about you?
I mean, it was an awesome weekend in sports and a weird weather week so far in terms of us here on the East Coast, but it's been a great week nonetheless.
That's for sure. I wish I was down in Tampa at the parade. That looked fun for the Super Bowl champ Bucks. Still sad about Brady winning 7.
Avocado tequila shots. There you go.
Oh my gosh,
That's all it takes.
that looked like Jordan at his wedding. In Syracuse and where that was. Well, a couple nights before, but anyway, that's a story for another day. Gentlemen, I want to get into the stick picks again. I thought that was a good thing from last time. Look at this thing. I got this old school Cryptolite shaft.
Crypto.
Yeah, and then I got a tactic head as well from my brother.
Blue and orange.
So let's get into it. Let's see what we got here. Just a good topic. We'll put some time on the clock and let's discuss. I wanted to hear from you both. Something you guys wish you knew as a young player starting lacrosse. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, or maybe, if you had advice for, kids starting out today, what's a piece of advice you wish you had back then?
For me, I wish I had listened more. And it's not necessarily because I didn't think that my coaches didn't know anything. Shout out to Andy Garrigan, Derek Thompson, Ross Thompson, Tim Walsh, but I didn't understand the nuances of the game. And I thought I could just be an athlete and run around and do whatever I wanted to do. And if I was doing it fast enough or with a heavy hand, then I was doing the right thing. But defense, as I played, is a very intricate position. And one thing that I learned as a coach was to really help students understand the nuances, the small things, the backpedaling, the drop stepping, the crossover run, if you're talking about playing defense from X. And that's what I did. I did it day after day after day with younger players and hopefully get them to a better place where I was when I started.
I would say for me, something very small. I kind of wish I knew more about creating space as a younger player. I think that is, for an offensive player, to put it in simple terms, the best thing you could do as an offensive player is to create space for yourself. And that could be with the ball, without the ball, and really both. So as a young player, I think by nature, you want to lean on your defender. It's just the way that you absorb checks as a young player is to literally just lean on your defender and try and run until he's not there anymore. So I wish that I knew as a younger player, different ways to create space. And I'm sure that I had coaches that tried to teach it, but I may not have really understood it. So I think that was the thing as I got older, I wanted to work on the most. So as a younger player, I think that that's something to make a big note of, that on offense, it's really about creating space, because on defense, you want to take the space away. So on offense, you want to create the space. So knowing how to do that on and off the ball, I think would be something I would have liked to be sharper at when I was a kid.
Yeah, I think in general, a lot of sports like basketball and football and things like that had the positional breakdown has been much more advanced than it has been in lacrosse. I think now when I think of looking at Deemer class and what he does, I see it on Instagram and the individual work that he does with his kids. There's probably a ton of coaches out there that are spending individual or time on individual positions now and breaking it down. I see a lot more with offense than I do with defense. And I think that now players are starting to realize, coaches are starting to realize that it's not always about, a 1v1 to a 2v2 to a 4v4 to a 6v6 to a full field, right? There are bits and pieces of the game that can only be taught in little digestible pieces on an individual skill level, 8 to 10 kids in a group, and really just repping it out. I'm going to say his name again, Chris Saran, Iron Horse Lacrosse in Dallas, Texas. He's all about repping it out. And when I used to work for him, we did these individual skill sessions for kids. It was an hour long, and all you did was reps over and over and over again. And you do that 8 times over the course of the summer, and now you've learned something. And now something becomes habitual rather than trying to send it verbally during a practice.
Yeah, I would piggyback on that. And I want to shout out my basketball assistant coach, Jason Bertolini. He, working with him totally changed my view and perception of how people get really great at things. And the idea of repetition of fundamentals, I think, is paramount in any sport that you play. Now, what's interesting about Jason is he's a great basketball coach and he's a great shooter, but he also applies all of those concepts to golf. So as older people, right, a lot of people take up golf. Jason's become a really great golfer because he just focuses on one thing in his swing every time he practices. And it's such a fundamental thought. But I think the hardest thing, right, is that mature concept of fundamental practice. And it's not sexy, right? It's not like spicy. So when you're younger and somebody says, hey, listen, I really want you shooting overhand, right? You say, oh yeah, okay. And then you do it for that practice. And then you go home and you let those hands drop and you're spraying the ball all over the place and you're having the time of your life. I get it. But the thing is, the fundamental practice is what's really going to allow you to then do the spicy stuff. So I think that's coming into vogue, which is at younger ages, like you said, Francis, that these trainers are catching up with other sports and trying to teach fundamentals and then build upon those concepts and building blocks. So I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. I think just to add to that real quick. Oh yeah. I think just to add to that real quick, like if I saw my younger self, don't be afraid to ask questions, right? If you don't know how to string a stick, you can ask your coach, you can ask your neighbor, and just the resources available now, as opposed to back then, what you can look up, what's available online for learning, different techniques or learning how to string sticks or whatever it may be. Like the information's out there. You just got to be willing to ask and willing to look for it, I think, is one of the biggest things too.
And the last thing I wish I knew is that lacrosse was on TV on Memorial Day weekends. I didn't find that out until 2000.
Wow. Big miss. That's on a big
part.
One.
Big miss on my part.
That's great. Well, let's get into another one. I want to have one more question for you guys at least. So here's one that I thought was pretty pertinent too. Should D3 programs be allowed to give scholarships? Both of you went to D3 schools to play. My brother went to a D3 school today to play. I want to hear from you both, just what your thoughts were on the subject.
Loaded question.
I had to throw it out there.
Do we think Division III schools should be able to give out athletic scholarships? I am going to defer to my college roommate to answer this question first, and I will react.
My sense is no. Division III schools are typically small liberal arts colleges. We're talking enrollment of, anything from 2,000 students to, maybe 8,000, 10,000 on the larger end. These schools are fighting and clawing and scrapping for every dollar that they have to put into the school facilities, to put into the programming that they offer for students, and dial it back to the whole idea behind Division III lacrosse is that you're there for your education, but you're able to play the sport that you love at the same time. So I think if D3 schools start offering athletic scholarships, then you're getting into a place where kids are now going to those schools for non-academic reasons, and de-emphasizing that idea of going to school. And we all, not every Division I player is doing that, but and probably less so in lacrosse, I would say. But we all know some of those big dollar-driven sports where students' education is taking a backseat to their athletic experience.
Yeah, I would piggyback on that, and my gut said no. Also, I do think that most Division III schools do a really nice job of targeting people that are going to bring something to the table to their campus community that maybe just a student by themselves would not, and finding them some merit-based money or some regional type scholarship like myself and like Francis at Nazareth, where, you know, we were coming from different parts of the for me, New York, and for Francis, a different part of the country. So we would get essentially regional scholarships that maybe other students might not have gotten if they didn't play a sport or were involved in the drama program or the arts program. So I do think that there are some ways that Division III schools can make it, I don't think this is the right way to say it, but make it worth your money to go to their school, as opposed to maybe a Division I or II school that will give you just athletic money.
With scholarship money comes expectation, right? And if somebody's going to give you money to go to their school for that athletic reason, then that means that your life is in their hands in a way. And so one of the beauties, and as D3 coaches, that we've probably said to our recruits is, you can live a life here and play lacrosse, right? Lacrosse is not life unless you want it to be, right? So we enjoyed, as much as we enjoyed the season and the grind and the lifting and the fall ball and whatnot, we also had breaks built in. And I think if you are getting paid, not getting paid, but receiving scholarship money, that changes the rules. That changes how you are insulated as a D3 player. And then you start spending more time on the field or more time in preparation. And maybe those particular players are not as dedicated to that sort of lifestyle. So, you know, at Nazareth, we were D3 players. We didn't get athletic scholarships. We still worked a ton. We played a lot. But I think we also felt like that was driven by us and our 100%. Passion for the sport, rather than the coaches always telling us what to do.
100%. And I think that's why you see a lot of Division III players become coaches. I think you see that a lot, because there's still a desire to continue to be involved in the game at a high level. And, what I see a lot is Division III teams, especially successful programs, they will retain former players as their assistant coaches. And to me, what that says is they're not burnt out. They're not ready to stop. And I'm not saying that that's the case for Division I and II, but it's just something I noticed at the Division III level. I can't speak to the Division I and II level as much, but I would say there's less burnout because it is self-motivated for sure. And, there's something to be said about that too. D3 players in a lot of ways are self-made in terms of how they progress. They're certainly given the infrastructure and the guidance by their coaches, because there are some amazing coaches at the Division III level. But a lot of that time is spent on your own in those unseen hours by yourself or with your roommates or whoever on your team, hitting the wall, shooting on cage at 10 at night with your car parked on the turf with the lights on. I don't know who did that, but I definitely remember some folks doing that. So I would say we are firm on no, Division III players should not be getting scholarships.
And it makes sense. It's for the right reasons, and appreciate you both sharing your perspective on the subject. All right, let's get into it. We're going to do another round of shot clock where, again, we're just going to go really quickly.
Let's go.
Francis, you're going to go first, sir. So you're going to read to Jordan. I gave you 5 items on a list. You're going to try and explain them to Jordan without using hand motions or without saying the word within the phrase. And you have to get Jordan to guess it back to you. Jordan, vice versa. We're going to go Francis, Jordan, and then back and forth. So, Francis, we're going to put some time on the clock. See how long this takes you, sir. Ready? Go.
You need this in order to open an account that's locked for only you.
Password.
Yeah. Unofficial sponsor of the podcast.
Legend.
Brand. Yes. Very tall attackman. Denver. Super smooth stick. Was he 22? He might have been
22. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Team Canada.
I can't remember his name.
Oh my God.
I know who it is.
Come back to it.
Come back.
Ducks. Nike.
Oregon.
Yes. The mascot for Lafayette. Is that right?
Bobcats?
No.
Bobcat?
Snow. It's a cat.
Leopards.
Yes. Yeah.
Time's up. Close. There's 1 on the clock. Francis, you want to tell him who it is?
Mark Matthews.
Stud.
I had M.
Lefty.
I had an M in my head. I was like, Mike, like in my head. I didn't want to embarrass myself because I know exactly who it is.
Matthew Marks.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about that YouTube clip, and it's out there. It's unreal. I think it was a tournament game, or maybe the Big East tournament, and he threw like an insane fake with his left hand and finished top right. It was just outrageous. Great YouTube clip, and an all-time player.
Because of his length, he is one of the best toe draggers I think maybe ever in lacrosse.
Kid was playing hockey out there.
He really was.
Insane.
Smooth.
And he wasn't super. I mean, he had a little bit of John Grant in him, and that he wasn't super athletic, but it's just like his IQ and his stick was just unreal. Let's not talk about him.
A lot of box skills. Yep.
A
lot of box skills. Jordan, you're up, sir. We're gonna put 60 on the clock. All you.
This morning I had a hard time with my windshield because these were broken.
Windshield wipers.
Yeah, more specific.
Scraper.
No.
Windshield wiper blades.
That's the one. This is my favorite food, hands down. It's one of the only things I can cook.
Chicken parm. Spaghetti.
Pasta. That's the one. This is a player who plays for he played at Notre Dame, and he plays for he's an attackman. That's the guy. This pairs well with chicken parm.
Spaghetti.
It pairs
cheese.
well. It pairs well with the
pizza.
Meal. It's a drink.
Dr. Pepper.
Definitely, but it's alcoholic drink.
Cherry Coke. Old fashioned. Beer. Wine. Red wine. White wine. It's chicken.
In a lacrosse stick. In the head, there's somewhat.
Time.
I bet he's gonna get. No, it's what holds the ball in the stick. You string it. What you string?
I don't know. You can tell me now. Time's up.
Mesh.
Oh.
Close.
Mesh.
Close.
Wait, what was the drink?
Wine. You got it.
Oh, mulled wine.
Yeah, you got it.
I thought it was hilarious how he was bent on Dr. Pepper. He's like, Dr. Pepper, cherry Dr. Pepper, vanilla Dr. Pepper.
It's very
Dr.
fair.
Pepper Zero.
It's very fair. It's very fair. For those who are unaware, Dr. Pepper is our family drink. We indulge in some Dr. Pepper, 23 flavors, official, unofficial sponsor of the Time and Space podcast.
It's good stuff.
Very unofficial. And we may get sued saying that it's official.
Sorry, by Dr. Pepper I meant Mr. Pepper. He doesn't have a PhD.
Speaking of Mr., is Mr. Pibb still around? Are they still making that?
Definitely. Oh, got it. Yeah.
Wow.
That's a specialty.
That's Dr. Pepper. That's like Dr. Pepper's boy. That's
what
like
about RC? RC Cola?
I mean,
Is that a Texas thing? Did you have RC growing up, Francis?
We definitely did in Texas. Definitely did.
If it's around, I don't want to know, to be honest.
What about Big Red?
Big Red, what?
Strawberry soda?
Whoa.
That must have been a Texas
I
thing.
thought you were talking about the gum, the cinnamon gum, like in Ricky Bobby.
There's a Big Red soda. All
I'll
right.
have to look into that. That sounds good too. All right, Francis, you were up again, sir. Almost got off topic there, but it's always good to riff a little bit. All right, 1 minute on the clock. You're up.
You do this form of exercise on a reformer that slides back and forth.
Oh, Pilates.
Yes. University of Virginia attackman won national championship and the Tewaaraton.
Stanwick?
Yeah. Yep, exactly. This is something that you do. I used to do with my lacrosse stick quite a lot when I was trying to take the ball away from people.
Check.
Which one?
Rap check.
Yes. I eat this at least 3 times a week. It is Japanese and delicious.
Sushi.
Yes. Maybe the best player of all time, stick handling wise, Native American.
Lyle Thompson.
Player, Lyle Thompson.
We did.
Iroquois National. Boom.
That was good. That was quick. There we go. I thought that was going to be a little bit harder with a couple more players, but you guys are getting the hang of it now.
I will say, very cool, calm, and collected. Francis was very cool, calm, and collected. I was panicking inside a little bit. A little bit.
When have you seen Francis not cool, calm, and collected?
It's all about what
that's an off-air conversation.
There we go.
We'll see come early June. You might see it in early June.
You never know. We're going to put 60 seconds on the clock. Let's go, Jordan.
This is something that you may bring to a picnic to eat on.
Blanket. Charcuterie plate.
No. Okay. So it's something that you, I'm going to go to the next one. This is a gigantic goalie that is very strong. We worked player's choice with him. He's from Long Island. Yeah, that's the guy. This is illegal now when you face off.
Knee down.
The other thing that's illegal.
Motorcycle grip.
That's the one. Not the head of the stick, but the other side of it.
The butt.
The butt what?
Butt end cap.
This is a guy that you coached with in the Ugandan national team who played attack at Virginia, one of my favorite
John
players.
Christmas.
And going back to that beginning one, you may eat at the dinner
table,
but if you want to transport it, you need a
bag.
No.
What?
Time's up.
What is it?
Folding table.
Oh,
that was a tough
How is that
one.
not a Buffalo Bills reference?
That's what I was thinking.
Wow.
Close.
Missed opportunity. I'm so sorry, Josh Allen. I'm so sorry.
Or at least WWF.
Oh, man. Although
the whole Bills Mafia just rolled over.
I'm sorry, everybody. I will say this. I will be looking for I am going to be looking for those dinner table bags somewhere. I'm sure I can find them.
Dinner table bag blankets.
That's great. Thanks again for taking the time to chat.
Sure.
And again, just a quick reminder to everybody out there, you can follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as YouTube, where you can like and subscribe there.
Sure.
Thanks again, all. Always a pleasure talking with my guys.